These guys are ridiculous. These guys are ridiculous. Now, how about them damn
And we are back with another How About Them Celtics video. Sam and I are here recording on Friday, December 1st, after the Celtics win over the shorthanded 76ers. Shorthanded being an understatement, as they were without Joel Embiid, they were without Tyrese Maxey, and it was the Patrick Beverley show in Boston. The first regular season game in Boston, I believe, for Patrick Beverley since the infamous camera incident, which is as much as it was, you can get mad at the whole theatrics after, all-time moment. That was electric.
Funny.
Respect. But anyways, Celtics scraped out a win over the 76ers today in a game they should have probably won by a lot more, but they did end up they won 25-119 win. Beverly had 26 points. D'Anthony Melton had 21 points, 14 for Paul Reed, 13 for Morris, 14 for Harris. I'll put it simply. The Sixers shot 46% from the field and 46% from deep. Celtics, not much defense being played, also had 20 turnovers, so they made life a lot harder for themselves than it had to be. It was a scary game throughout the first half. They were down 3 heading into halftime, gave up 72 points to the Sixers throughout the first half. After the game, Joe Mazzulla said, that level of defense, giving up X amount of points in the first 2 quarters is unacceptable. Got to be better. Talked about the turnovers. Him and Derrick White both also added that, the classic, let me find the actual quote. It's something that's going to piss Sam off, so I'll get him even more heated for his first talking point. Derrick White on the tough Celtics loss, he said, "These are difficult games. I feel like when guys are out, especially the top 2 guys who get the majority of the plays called for them, everybody feels like they're back in college. They're ready to show off what they've been working on. These games are difficult. You see it across the league, and tonight was no different." And evidently so. It was, in fact, difficult for the Celtics, but important part is, I suppose, at the end of the day, they did get the win. And now I'll let Sam get Matt online if that is what he chooses to do.
So throughout this game, I found myself doing a lot of thinking about Chris Broussard. That was the number one thing I was thinking about. But throughout the game, I was like, wow, they're going to lose this game. First quarter, they score 44 points, shoot like 70% from the field. They're up single digits. Oh, wow. Probably should be up more. Turning the ball over a lot. Just dumb, brain dead basketball. Dumb. Like just putting yourself in a bad situation when you don't have to. Nobody was particularly good tonight. Star-wise, Al Horford was great. Derrick White was good.
I was going to say,
I don't mean to step on those
I was going to
guys.
say.
Wasn't overly impressed with Jaylen. Wasn't overly impressed with Tatum, though he was efficient. 7 turnovers for Tatum, unacceptable. Gets himself tossed, unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
Jaylen, a lot of forced stuff. He did an okay job closing the game.
Yeah.
Despite a rough go throughout the first 3 quarters. Again, Horford, big boy game for him, playing against Philly. He loves to play against Philly. It's no surprise. You expect him to show up, but maybe not to this degree. 20 points for the man, 2 blocks back-to-back. It was the most electric play of the game. He got Tobias Harris twice on 2 dunk attempts on a fast break. It was a big momentum play in the fourth quarter. Let's see. Oh, they probably didn't give him credit for the second of the 2 blocks.
That's all right. We'll watch here. You know what? We can watch the back-to-back. I know how to find it. You keep talking. I'll find the back-to-back for you.
But anyways, that was the best play of the game.
Yeah.
But I will say this, after Tuesday's win, a lot of talk about the integrity of the game. A lot of respect for the Celtics tonight. They showed great integrity to the game. They didn't want to humiliate a Sixers team that was injury-riddled. They had the fellas out there. They let them hang around. They didn't blow them out. They didn't disrespect them in any sense of the word. Yeah, I mean, a lot of integrity for the game tonight. I'm sure that was a point of emphasis. I mean, that's all they could talk about after clinching the in-season tournament playoff berth. So it's good to see that they learned some sportsmanship and they really let Philly hang around. They were very giving, gave the ball away a lot. Like, they gave them free possessions. They were like, here you go. Like, we can tell, like, we're making a lot of shots. Here are some extra chances for you to score. They did some nice charity. Mo Bamba got to score a lot of points today. Like, that was really nice to see. Somebody that's known most for the song, not his NBA career, really made an impact in this game against the majority of your starters. And then Pat Bev, who I like, should have been a Celtic this summer. Good for him.
Pat Bev was cooking.
I wanted Pat Bev to get 40. I wanted him to teach them a lesson.
You shouldn't let him get there, but he got some easy ones to go early, but then by the end of the game, he was just making some ridiculous shots.
Oh,
Just
he was calling his own number. He was taking step backs. He was making them. Good for Pat
Yeah.
Bev. Happy for him. I like him. Good
Yes.
personality. He had good things to say about the Celtics fans, which is not a very common thing around the league. This is not from today. This is from, I think it was right before the season started. He was on his podcast. He said,
Yeah.
like, he respects the passion or whatever. Again, like, head nod, respect to Pat Bev. And, you know, good for the Celtics. Like, it's nice to see him get his first 20-point game since 2018. It's actually what you really want to see every time the Celtics take the floor. You like to see guys have the anomaly game. Good for Pat Bev. This is the best case scenario for me because they won and I still get to bitch. Just horrible game.
So
they should all be ashamed. And I'm gonna finish after this. They should have to walk to Indiana.
I'll say it. I don't want to keep saying it because it obviously means they're putting themselves in the position for it to happen. Not a game they would have won last year. So like it's objectively not right. This is the equivalent of the Thunder.
I thought they were going to lose.
I did too, and they didn't. And credit the guys who stepped up after Tatum's ejection, which we'll also talk about. The turnovers were bad because almost all of them were unforced. They were all stupid errors. They were all dribbling into traffic. They were all, getting yourself in a bad position and then not being able to get out of it. What I thought was even more concerning, especially early, they were just giving up a million open shots in the paint. Like the Sixers just had a free lane every time. They were getting to the rim with ease. I will say, in Horford's defense, Paul Reed, no business making some of those turnaround fades. That was kind of ridiculous.
Made some threes.
Yeah, Paul Reed was nuts.
I was like making myself food. I was like, did he just make a three? I didn't know he could do that.
He can't. I bet you he's made less than 23s on the season. Let's take a look. Shall we look at Paul Reed Basketball Reference? Nick Nurse is encouraging him to take them this year, but he's shooting on the season. Wow, he's actually shooting 37% from three. I'm going to eat my words. My bad. Hand up. Well, I'm sorry. He's made 3 of 8 before tonight. So let's hold the fucking phone. 3 of 8 before tonight, and then he was 1 of 1 tonight. So I'll calm down. But yeah, Melton was great. I saw that coming. He was fine. Like you said, bad Jaylen game, but it was weird. Bobby Carizzi was saying this. Go watch Talk and Seas if you haven't yet. Bobby Carizzi said this upstairs when we were watching. He goes, "This is like opposite night for Jaylen. He's very good on defense, but can't do anything on offense," which is like the opposite of what it was a lot of the time last year. Like Jaylen was better on defense. Both for $300 million. Both
for $300 million, you should get both. That's a great point. It's a tough call though, because you obviously don't want Jaylen to be just a revolving door on defense. We've seen it last year, like he wasn't as locked in as he had been in years past. But at the same time, he has such a responsibility on the offensive end, and he has the freedom to try and cook. So when he's off there, it feels like he really, really hurts the team. Like, this was a bad Jaylen offensive game for the most part, and you felt it. You felt it with some turnovers. You felt it with some forced layups. Like, a lot of stuff that I wouldn't usually complain about. I was like, oh, wow, yeah, he went up on 2 people when he could have kicked it out. Like, starting to see the vision a little bit more. At least
he had a couple kickouts tonight. Yeah.
We've seen some really good Jaylen games this year. He's starting to kind of show that he can make the decision, read the defense, and make the correct pass. But only sometimes. He's not doing it consistently yet. And for the Celtics to be the best team that they can be, he's going to have to become better at it. If he's more willing to give up the ball tonight, the Sixers defense has to work so much harder than they did.
Yeah, I agree. I thought Tatum actually had a good game. Obviously, the turnovers were bad, so it was bad. But like offensively,
very bad.
Of course, right, and I'll take back had a good game. What I'm trying to say is he had a good game offensively because he is not. He realized early that no Embiid, I get to the hoop for free, and he did that. Like he played only 27 minutes and he had 9 free throws. He missed 2, but he's 7 for 9 and was 6 of 9 from the field. He 4 assists, 7 rebounds, 21 points in his limited minutes. I thought he was good. At least offensively, the turnovers were bad, obviously, but he was good in that specific area. Turnovers and defense, I think, just were the main problem. It was weird because you almost couldn't tell if it was. It's tough for me to blame effort so easily this season. I think this was a more obvious issue of effort, but at the same time, I don't know if it was as much effort or as much the mindset of two stars being out affecting their execution. Because I do think those are different things, right? Like I think that Grizzlies game was a lack of effort, and the Charlotte game was a lack of effort, right?
Maybe it's lack of
Because
focus then.
yeah, I think that's a better way to phrase it.
To me,
'Cause
that's the
I don't
same though.
I think the difference is I don't think it's that the Celtics weren't trying in this game. I just think they let the lack of Embiid and Maxey affect their execution, and so they were other like problems presented themselves easily. Like the example I have is Drew Holiday. I can't remember exactly what happened, but I remember the play in my head of Drew Holiday playing free safety, helping off somebody, and then in return, they, let up a backdoor cut or let up an open three or something. So like the absence of two of the star players almost let it like the mindset slip of everybody else around the perimeter saying, oh, they're not here, let's focus on this. Like they were thrown off mentally of, oh, we don't have to switch. And then look what happened late in the game. Once they realized they had to lock in, Celtics defense for the last quarter was fucking awesome, right? Like they completely stuffed
What
the
happened
Sixers. At one
was
point I saw they
they
started
threw the
picking
integrity
up
of the
the
game
effort.
out of the window.
Well, they switched their defense. They went from a drop defense, and then they were switching everything in the fourth quarter. And it was fun. Drew Holiday was getting out and guarding everything. Like in the fourth quarter, the Sixers they shot 46% of the night. They shot 8 of 23, including quick maths, 5 of 16 from 2-point range. Like the Celtics defense shut them down. And it's almost like they realized they had to execute more. And I'm not going to say there was no effort issues, right? Because when you're down like this to a team like this, there's obviously some, but I just don't think it's fair to make the blanket statement of they weren't trying, so they lost. I think a lot of it was they weren't executing the way they should be, because their mindset was thrown off by the fact that Embiid and Maxey. And I'm not trying to say this as an excuse. I just think like there's multiple layers to why this went wrong and why these things happen. And I think tonight was a good example because you look early on, Tobias Harris is getting in the paint easily. Patrick Beverley's getting in the paint. Like all these guys are just getting free run. Like the Sixers were shooting like 72% from the field at one point, and so are the Celtics because the Sixers just weren't a great defensive team
Right.
either because they're missing 2 players. But when you're giving the Sixers opportunities to get out in transition because of the turnovers, and you're, giving them lanes to the basket, and you're missing backdoor cuts, and you're letting them get in this flow, and you're letting them get this underdog mentality, then it builds up and up and up, and then it gets to the point where you're like, shit, this is a game now, and it shouldn't be. And I credit them for locking in at the end when it matters, especially without Jayson Tatum. And we can talk about Horford being awesome and Derrick White being awesome and Drew Holiday having a couple defensive plays and Payton Pritchard just fucking making the biggest shots of the game.
New FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV.
But I think it was a real lack of execution. Joe Mazzulla talked about it after the game too, and I'll be done after this. But he was like, I forget exactly what he mentioned, but he mentioned a couple like niche things, like we weren't in Marcus Morris's airspace enough in certain points, like missing the rotations. We weren't in Patrick Beverley, like, and as silly as it sounds, like those are the guys who got the open shots, and those are the guys who were hot because of it. And so I think it was just a mental lapse in that point. I don't think it was the Celtics saying like, oh, these guys suck. I think it was like stars are out. We're going to miss, it's different points of emphasis than we're used to, and the execution wasn't there at times. So I don't know. I think it was a mix.
See, I think focus, effort, execution all kind of goes in that same category. They are different things, but at the end of the day, they are the things that you can control in a game, right? And that to me is, especially come playoff time, is the biggest thing you can ever be emphasizing, is that you can make sure you do the things well that are under your control. Tonight, they had all the other things except for turnovers going great, making all the shots. They had moments on defense where they had some great highlight blocks. Brown had a chase down, obviously, the double Horford block. They had some excellent steals. But it all didn't matter, and we're not going to talk about that because they were so unfocused, so like just lackluster at times, that the defense didn't matter because they turned the ball over. The shot making didn't matter because they weren't moving the ball enough to get quality shots when the shots weren't going in. There were a lot of one-pass shot plays. These things are the reason why you're in a game with a Pat Bev-led team. Even though Pat Bev was excellent, it just shouldn't be the case.
No.
You just ran the Bulls off the floor and we're up to a 35-point lead because you knew you had to lock in. We all saw them lock in. And then the game after, you followed up against a rival despite the Stars not being there, almost laying an egg on your home floor where you're undefeated this year, a fortress. You're going to let Pat Bev and Marcus Morris and Mo Bamba come in and almost
Would have been
beat
funny.
you?
Would have been
I
kind of
wanted
funny.
them to lose because I wanted to make a point. I would have been like, look, like, like a dog pees on someone's carpet and they like shove the dog's face in it. Not that you should do that, but with a professional basketball team, you should do that.
Would have been
That's
funny.
what it would have been like.
Let's talk a little bit positive, and then we can end with Tatum. Horford, we dropped a video about Horford. Video about Horford. Horford's great again. He
Maybe people will watch it.
Yeah, go watch our video about Horford, please. 20 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. Obviously, the 2 blocks in the night, 1 steal, 7 of 9, 2 of 4. Getting down and dirty in the post a little bit more again, which we talked about, which was great. It's great.
Big bucket.
Derrick White continues to just be the plus-minus king. He was a plus 20 in this game.
Yeah.
21 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 and 1, steal and block, 5-11, 3 of 4. He was huge. A couple questionable plays from Drew Holiday down the stretch, but he was solid throughout the game. He was playing great defense at the very least on the end there. 13 points, 5 and 6. Hauser was fine, 3 of 4 from deep. He did get stuffed by Mo Bamba, which was kind of embarrassing. 11 and 5 for him though. And then I think hand in hand with Horford and White, Payton Pritchard, man, like he had 10 points in this game and they were all in the fourth quarter. Like
it reminded me of the Nets game.
So huge.
That I always reference when I talk about Payton Pritchard. He stepped up big when they needed him. Tatum goes out of the game. He starts knocking down threes. He's creating shots for himself. He starts to be aggressive. There was a drive early in the fourth quarter where he passed out and he probably could have had a layup. And Scal kind of called him out for it. And right after that, this play happened. He knocks down the 3 to cut the lead to just 1.
Big shot.
Just great to see him playing confident basketball. Pritchard, we all know, is somebody that can play at a very high level. You see these pro-ams where he has to be the guy and he's dropping a ridiculous amount of points.
You know what I wanted here? Right after this shot? This would have been ready right here. So Katie gets the rebound. Holiday pushes, kicks it to Pritchard. Celtics tie game, 9 minutes left. Pritchard pulls up in transition. I wanted him to walk over to the bench and do the nutsack celebration right in Sam Cassell's face. just break it out,
big
man.
balls.
Dude, he was so huge in this game. Dude, this was great too. This team isn't good enough. They don't know what's happening. He cut right on Robert Covington, who had no idea what was going on.
Great awareness to make the right play on his part off the ball. I love when they move off the ball. You don't always get to see it with this team, but good for him.
It's great. Pritchard was great. He deserves all the flowers. Him, Horford, and Derrick White won them this game. Like genuinely. Without Tatum in there, they needed it. Statue for Al Horford. If Horford wins a ring, does he get his number retired? Question.
Yeah, I was literally about to say I really hope they get him a ring because I think he deserves that. I was thinking about Horford's career and I was like, wow, the Philly, like leaving Boston for Philly is just so weird. You can understand what the vision was. Like, of course, you think double bigs, Horford can stretch the floor. It gets easy for Embiid and money. I mean, the Celtics could have paid him. But just a strange move for somebody that's probably going to go down as one of the great Celtics. Not necessarily the greatest players to ever play for the Celtics, but the same way that Smart is well-loved around here and people really wanted to see him succeed. Horford has that same kind of connection with the fan base, so it's just so strange to see him go join a rival like that at a key time.
Was weird. All right, the elephant in the room. Jayson Tatum ejected in this game. Picked up a tech early. Picked up another one. Got him booted. Yelling at the refs. At first glance, I thought he deserved it. I mean, he literally they literally pulled Charles Lee over, said, "Get your guy," and then Tatum doubled back and said something again, and then they booted him. And after the game, Tatum said he was talking with Bill Kennedy, and then the other 2 refs booted him. Tatum post game, very funny. Let me just read the highlights of these quotes because it was.
I did read.
Excuse me, it was very entertaining.
Go on.
So there's a lot. I'm not going to read through everything because he's talked a lot about it. He goes, I was extremely surprised. I guess whatever I said doesn't matter at this point. I don't agree with it. He said the assistant coach didn't agree. He said the refs were against ours. I can't change what happened. Blah, blah, blah. Can't get that time back. Said, He was asked basically like, what was it like? Bill Kennedy, wasn't even the one to throw you out. It was the other two. He goes, they was ready. They was ready to throw me out. Did I cuss? No hand gestures. Me and Bill were having conversations. The other two refs, like, they wanted me
Bill
out
Kennedy's
or whatever.
a
He
rat,
said,
by the way. Big rat.
Why?
Loves the camera.
Oh, I like
Every
Bill
time
Kennedy. I
that
think
man
he's
is
fine.
officiating game, he takes all of the time he can when he's making announcements. He loves it.
I like it. I like the way he details it, but
No.
whatever.
Rat.
He said, I've been in the league long enough. I've seen a lot worse be tolerated. This is Tatum. For those due to throw me out, I was shocked. They say, get your money's worth. We get fined for these texts. I definitely didn't get my money's worth. He said, I was frustrated. Didn't feel like it was warranted. He said, I hate all the people that came to watch. Maybe it was some people's first game. They didn't get to see me play, not being able to get the team to win. And then this was the quote of the night. So Gary Washburn asked him, like, what do? Do you like get an ice bath to cool yourself down? Like take a breather? Do you like basically saying like, what do you do after you're like, cause you're so mad? Like, what do you do to calm yourself down so you can watch the game? And Tatum just goes, again, I wasn't that fucking mad. Don't put that narrative out there. There was no magic words. I didn't cuss.
Why are you mad?
I don't know.
Why are you mad? I'm not mad.
Maybe they didn't want me to play tonight. They were eager to throw me out of there. I walked back, sat in my chair, had to laugh it up, got my ice, watched the rest of the game, and I watched us win. He was like, fuck, that's it. Joe Mazzulla also said, I smiled, I gave him a hug, and we laughed it off. And Joe also said, I like that. I'd rather him show that emotion than not show it. But also said it doesn't, not good when it affects the game. But in my eyes, probably deserved it based on what I saw. I don't know what was said, but Tatum very adamantly doesn't think he should have been thrown out. But curious to know what what it was like from your perspective.
My thoughts, read the room, Tatum.
Exactly.
Listen,
yes.
You are ahead of me. You're at the game. I have a delay on stream.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as the foul happened, I knew he was going to get tossed.
Yep.
Not because of you. Once I had he might get tossed, then I saw that he got tossed via you.
Yep.
And you could just tell it was escalating. The game wasn't going the way they wanted to. He was going to get tossed.
Mm-hmm.
They've been going at it with the officials. Yeah. He likes to complain. I will say this. Do I think Tatum should have got ejected? Yes. Do I think it's okay to compare other non-ejections to this ejection? Yes. Do I think the comparison means that he should not have got ejected tonight? No. What it means is Draymond running around like a maniac. He should be held accountable more often. LeBron should be held accountable more often. If these guys are going to act out as superstars in the league, you have to either hold them accountable or hold other players who are also superstars like Tatum to a similar standard. There has to be some kind of benchmark barometer. Because if you look at some of Tatum's texts or ejections compared to some of the things you see from those two guys, it's unbelievable, the disparity. Tatum been ejected for clapping or tech for clapping.
Those are the worst. Yeah, those
LeBron
are the worst.
had a meltdown on this end of the court right here on your screen last January. The man was on his knees throwing a temper tantrum and didn't even get a tech. What are we doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Again,
listen, I'm with you.
I thought he should have got thrown out. Like Tatum being tossed, fine, but just hold everybody accountable.
I understand you don't like Bill Kennedy. I like Bill Kennedy. That's not the point of what I'm about to say. I just want to put that out there so you don't say, oh, blah, blah, blah. Him. So he didn't get tossed. Like he didn't toss him. Both of the other two did. They were looking for it. Then watch Jayson Tatum go to Bill Kennedy, and Bill Kennedy's like, it's like, why the fuck they yelling at me for? I didn't do it. Like it's the 50 Cent. What the fuck they say fuck me for? But yeah, no, I'm with you. I think he deserved to get ejected just because like you can't double back at the refs. Like they say stop. They say stop. Exactly. You can't. You got to know, especially in that spot. But anyways. Major takeaways, my eyes. I think we covered it. Bad defense, let him get in the paint. Turnovers bad, obviously, it's useless. Horford and Derrick White, very good. Payton Pritchard, very good. Tatum ejection, meh. Jaylen Brown, meh. We miss anything else? Pat Bev, nuts. I think that's it. Did we get everything?
Better play better on Monday, which we'll talk about on the next pod. But
well, yes. This Sixers team, my point is this Sixers team plays better defense than the actual Pacers. I'll put it that way. Anyways, it's something special. They have brewing up there in Indiana. Anyways, thank you all for tuning in. Make sure to check out Talkin' C's, our new show with Bobby Krivitsky of SI. It's went out yesterday. It's going to be more in. If you watch anything as potable, just know that Jam Packard tried to take this room and I beat him to the punch. So sorry, Jam. I beat you. He came in, he goes, "You win this round," and he just left the room. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Subscribe to How About Them Celtics, and I'll let Sam take it out.
Hey, thank you very much for listening or watching. If you're watching, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our daily uploads. We're doing all kinds of work. We're doing videos, the Talkin' C's pods. We're doing pregame streams. You don't want to miss any of it. So hit the notification bell, hit the like button on the video, leave a comment, tell us what you thought of the game. I'm sure you have something to say. If you're on Spotify or Apple, follow us. Leave a 5-star review. We're no longer asking, say something nice about the pod. You can also find us on socials at How About Them C's. That's Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook is just the name of the podcast. All live streams will be there as well as YouTube. If you want to email us, the email's on the screen too, hbtcpod@gmail.com. You can follow Jack on Twitter at JacksMoneyNBA. You can follow me at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us.
Taco, come on.
Taco's having some fun here.
That is bogus. These guys are ridiculous.